Sometime after Cisco's death, a gentleman who was very close to Cisco and was himself controlling a major bag on the street introduced your mom to another reputable young hustler who called himself Redjack. But initially, she shunned the introduction. Lena, who was the gentleman that made that introduction, and why were you initially apprehensive about meeting Redjack?
Jesse Gray. And Jesse Gray was Cisco's best friend, one of his best friends. He was my son's godfather. And I didn't know how to give myself to somebody that he was introducing me to. And he wasn't telling me to make him my everything, to marry him. He didn't say, marry this gentleman. He said, this gentleman would like to meet you. And I just wasn't ready. I had just had a baby by another gentleman. You know what I'm saying? I just had a baby, maybe 6 months before that.
So where was that gentleman?
That gentleman had died. He had got killed. His name was Flat Top.
Flat Top?
Flat Top.
Stanley Hilliard?
Stanley Hilliard.
That's my cousin's uncle. He was married to my Aunt Letitia, my aunt.
I got a son by him named Chauncey Jackson.
Elaine.
I got a son by him.
That's extraordinary.
Yep, I have a son.
That is crazy.
Yep. I had a baby by him. I was with him for a year because I knew him before he went to jail. And the day he was getting ready to go in, just a week before, he said, one day you're going to be mine. He said, one day. And he went to jail. He went to do 6 years. And he came back out. Cisco was dead. And I was standing in a sporting goods store. You know, Cisco had a sporting goods store on 16th Street.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he had
what was the name of it?
The name of it was R&R Sporting Goods Store. That's the name of it. It was right on 116th Street.
And what?
7th and 8th. He had a sporting goods store. Robert Paul's store was right next to his, and he had a sporting goods store. He had a restaurant in that block too.
What was the name of that?
That was named after his mother, Coretta. That was his mother's store. He had 2 stores, and Flat Top was over across the street at 215 because Elaine family lived over there.
Yeah.
And he came over to speak to me and Jackie, which was Robert Paul, which was Reginald's aunt. He came over to speak to me. He said, hey, Candy, how you doing? I said, I'm doing fine. I paid it no mind. He was 10 years older than me. Too old for me. You understand? So I paid it no mind. A couple of weeks later, we went to, me and Jackie went out to a bar, and he covered all the drinks. And then he said, could I take you out? I just took a shot and went out with him. He was such a nice guy. Flat Top was such a beautiful man. You know, he was so soft-spoken. You know, you didn't get a rowdiness out of him. You know, to make him angry, you had to pull a lot.
Right.
You understand? He wasn't the type of guy that should have died the way he died.
Yes.
He should have been in an accident.
That's right.
Not get his head blown off.
Betrayed by his friends.
Yeah, betrayed by his friends.
Yes,
another friend story.
Pretty similar to what happened to
To what I had already dealt with.
Almost to the letter.
Right.
Only he wasn't in the place. He came to
He went to it.
Yes.
He went to it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And he did it on December 30th. He did it on the day before New Year's Eve. He had just bought me a mink coat. I had just bought him a bracelet. He put the bracelet on and went. I never got the bracelet back. I never got my keys back. It was a lot. So when Jesse was coming around to get Reggie, he would bring Redjack. But it was just, hello, how you doing? Nothing, because I'm pregnant. I'm pregnant. So it wasn't a relationship. I'm pregnant now. It took 6 months before 6 months afterwards, he adopted my son, gave him Jackson, before he married me. And we became as one. We still together 42 years later.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. You know, we turned out to be great, you know? He loves me, he loves my kids. It's the best thing ever, man. It turned out good because I think everything that happened in my life brought me to him. As I was losing these gentlemen, as I was losing them, I couldn't understand. 2 years later, I'm back in the same shit. And then, you know, I'm dealing with another hustler. I was sick of him. I was sick of hustlers. That's what held me from wanting to mess with Redjack, because he was a street guy. But he needed somebody like me. He needed me, and Jesse knew he needed me. And that's why he put him there. He needed to know how to maneuver in this game. It was new to him. You know what I'm saying? And we worked out. We did just fine.
Indeed.
Yeah. And personally, sometimes I actually, when I look at Chauncey, I see Flat Top so much. I actually have to, I just stare at him. He got all Flat Top attitude. He's soft spoken. Flat Top loved music, and this child loved music from day one. He into music. He used to sing. He used to do things like that. He used to, I got a piece of tissue. Thank you. He used to sing, and all of a sudden he just started writing songs and getting his life together. He did great.
I look forward to meeting him.
Oh, he wants to come. He was saying he wanted to come today. He's in New York City. He said he might make it over here to see you. He would love to meet you.
And I him.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That's a lot, man. This was a lot. But Redjack has been a great guy. He ain't no different than no other hustler that been in the street. He's a great guy, man. Are you crying too, man?
Shut up, I ain't crying.
Don't you cry. This is like touching, It's because it's real. It's, I'm telling y'all the real. It's just like, women tend to think that, that the man is the only one that hurt because he do the time in the jail or he lose his life. But when a gentleman do time or a man lose his life, the woman burns inside. We burn, but you got to stay strong. Because if you don't stay strong with this shit, you will fold like a paper bag. Yeah, and that's what it is.